Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from theblackstartupprogram.com. One of the things I want to talk about today is what it takes to produce a product. One of the 7 P's that we discussed in this class is production. When you have a product that you want to create, you have to have a production process. What I find is that there are a lot of people who can dream the big vision and they can imagine what they want their business to look like, but they kind of forget that ideas don't have a lot of value until you create something real. They don't understand that you can have the best idea in the world, but an idea doesn't mean anything if it isn't manifest. You know, it's almost like imagining having a baby and imagining raising that baby to the age of 18, but then you don't even have sex, right? And then imagine if you had sex and made a baby, but you didn't actually raise the baby. Well, that's what kind of happens a lot of times. Well, what I'll see, pretty much everywhere I go, I'll always hear somebody that will say that they have some kind of $1 million idea. They'll say, "Hey, Doc, I need to talk to you. I got this $1 billion idea," and I'll say, "Okay, well, I don't know if we have time to talk because I got 1,000 people that want to try to talk to me." But what I'll notice is that there's a little bit of what I might call a little bit of what you might call economic immaturity, where you could kind of tell sometimes that the person really hasn't built anything. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't build anything. It doesn't mean that they can't overcome it, and you should. Everybody starts off economically immature, but a lot of times before you build the $1 billion idea, I need to see you build the $10 idea. You know, once you build the $10 idea, then you could build the $100 idea. Once you build the $100 idea, you could build it into a $1,000 idea. And a lot of times what you find is that when you're going through that process, you actually learn a lot about yourself. You learn that maybe it's not as easy for you to do what you wanted to do as you thought it was, going to be. You learn that it's going to cost a lot more money than you had in the beginning. It's really hard to finance a $1 billion idea when you've only got $2,000, $3,000 in the bank. For anybody that comes up and tells me they got a $1 billion idea, I might send them away and say, okay, well, why don't you go work on that idea for 2 years? Work on it for 2 years, put 5,000 hours of labor into that idea, and then come back and talk to me later. And, and because what happens is that there's a difference between the people that are really serious about what they're doing and the ones who are not. And when you tie that into, the idea of production, even with just production, producing the product that you want to sell, sometimes that can be more complicated than you think or less complicated. It can become more complicated than you think when people think that somehow they're going to miraculously have this great product that they can sell just because they visualized it. That was the issue that we've had even in our business when it comes to making movies. We had this issue, and it took us time to work through it, where we would hire people to get our movies done and they just wouldn't finish the job. We'd pay them some money to get them started, and we'd say, okay, if this movie's done, we think we know what we can do with this, but the editor will start working on it and the grandma will get sick. Or I work with this filmmaker down in Dallas who just did some weird stuff, and as soon as he had some money, he kind of just disappeared. And so you learn little things like that. That maybe producing the product is not as easy as you think, but then at the same time, there are times where it's easier than you expect it to be. So, for example, what a lot of people don't know is that you can make a product without actually making a product. You can sell, just because you sell a product doesn't mean you have to make it. A lot of people sell things that they don't make at all. And in fact, if you're not good at making something, you probably shouldn't make it. You should probably focus on selling it and then let somebody else make it. So, for example, we have something set up called the URL is theblackcommercenetwork.com, and at theblackcommercenetwork.com, what we allow people to do is become affiliates of our products. So we tell them, look, we'll make the product. The products might be our classes, books, things like that, films, whatever. We'll make the product if you want to sell it, and we'll give you a percentage of whatever you sell. So a lot of people are like, great, this is awesome. I'm going to just, go take some of Dr. Boyce's stuff and I will sell it on my YouTube channel, or I'll sell it on my Facebook page and get a commission because I don't want to actually spend the time making the product. And I think that's a great move because we've done both sides. We've been the seller and we've also been the producer in a lot of occasions. A lot of people don't know that there are ways to outsource products, things like that. And so I encourage you, when you think about your business and you think about the product you want to sell, and remember, in the early part of the class in the Black Starter program, we talked about the importance of not making the product just you. The product should be more than just you. But then also, once you have the product, you got to figure out your production process. Another mistake I'll see people make is, let's say that they're selling books. They'll mail every book out on their own, so they'll have a living room filled with boxes and shipping carts and, you know, little notices that they had to fill out, and stamps and everything else. And what happens is that if you don't have a good production process that's smooth and fluid, you can spend so much time kind of doing the manual labor for your business that you can't actually run and plan your business. It's very hard in an organization to be both the CEO and the secretary at the same time. So when you build your organization, prepare it for structure and growth, sometimes you have to pay a little bit extra to have your product produced by somebody else, or to have it, you know, held at a warehouse or something like that, as opposed to having it all stacked up in your house. I learned that the hard way. The only reason I can talk about a lot of this stuff is because I've gone through it myself. So if you're in that category, don't think I'm making fun of you, because if I'm making fun of you, I'm making fun of me, because that's where I was about a decade ago. And the reason that I created the Black Startup Program is because I want to help people kind of overcome some of that, to be able to not go through what I went through and spend 5 years figuring out something that you could figure out in 5 minutes of talking to the right person, or spend a whole lot of money doing things the wrong way. Because if you if your production process is not kind of well thought out and cautiously designed, you can end up losing a ton of money. So anyway, that's it. That's what I wanted to kind of bring up on the production process. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins at theblackstartupprogram.com. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. All right, guys. Well, what I just did was I was doing a video for one of our programs in the Black Business School. It's called the Black Startup Program, and it's basically a digital program on how to start $1 million business. And if you're interested and you think that there's something that we can give you to get you started, get your idea off the ground, you can actually sign up now if you'd like at theblackstartupprogram.com. That's theblackstartupprogram.com. So it's built for people that want to start up their business idea, who want to quit their job, who want to start a business, and it's a great program in terms of the type of content that you have. Also, many of you saw the 48-hour business school, and the 48-hour business school, we designed that for people that really want that hands-on, direct face-to-face interaction. There's a higher price point for that, though. The people actually flew into Los Angeles, and we were at a hotel for a weekend, and we were in the room, and they'll tell you I was in the room with them for 10 hours a day, and we were busting butts, trying to really get the business ideas off the ground. So if you're interested in that and you want that direct face-to-face contact, that's at 48hourbusinessschool.com, the number 48. But actually, you don't have to do that if you want to learn how to start a business digitally. We've got a great program at theblackstartupprogram.com, theblackstartupprogram.com. Give me 1 second here. Somebody's asking, would I buy a Pink Sheet stock? I mean, I don't see why not. Pink Sheet stocks are not necessarily bad, or what's the word? They're not necessarily garbage stocks. They're just not as liquid. The market's not as liquid for Pink Sheets, the over-the-counter market, as they call it. But I don't see any reason why a person wouldn't buy a Pink Sheet. Just don't put all your life savings into Pink Sheet stocks, because I don't think that's a good move. I don't think that'll work out in your favor. Also, if you happen to be interested in starting a franchise, a lot of people are looking into franchising to get started. We just had a new faculty member join the Black Business School, attorney Tanya Nebo, who is an absolute expert at starting franchises and buying them and selling them and getting the financing for them and finding the right franchise. And so, we provide in the Black Business School, we give you solutions. I'm not just a guy that's going to talk about the problems. I talk about solutions. And so what I found is that there are a lot of people who love to hear people complain about the same problems over and over again. And I think that they have fallen for the misconception that if you complain about something long enough, then eventually white people will come save you and they're going to feel guilty and come and make it right. And I don't believe that. I kind of believe that if you have a problem, you fix it, and you don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. You do it yourself. So what I find is that sometimes the resistance that I might get from people might come in a few different categories. Either people think I'm a crook. They think, oh, well, this black man's out here, influencing lots of black people, so he must be a liar, which really says a lot about what you think about yourself, how you feel about black men. A lot of people, even a lot of black people, are conditioned to believe that a black man must be a criminal. Also, there are people who might get upset because they believe that we can't do anything without white people. Like they'll literally say, well, doctor, you really think black people could really build all this without the help of white people? And I say, well, white people feel that they can build anything without the help of black people. They don't. Only thing they feel that they can't build without our help might be a basketball league or, or a hip hop studio. But for the most part, white people don't even consider us in the equation when they're thinking about what their community needs. And so I say, well, why can't it be the same thing for us? That's what, to me, that's what equality looks like. It means if you don't need me, then I don't need you, and but then again, at the end of the day, maybe we can work together. But I think working together is very different from me working for you. If I work for you, that's not going to work. Now, Marijuana Cannabis says, when's the next stock market class? We just had one a couple of days ago. We're going to have another one very, very soon. We try to meet every Monday for the Black Stock Market Program. Sometimes if I'm flying, I'll move the date to Tuesday or Wednesday. But we had a meeting a couple of days ago. We're going to have another session very, very soon between now and Monday. And then we're going to have another one on Monday. So if you have any sessions that you missed, go in there, log in right now. You can log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. If you log in, you will see every single lecture that we've done. There's like literally 60 or 70. I don't know, maybe I want to guess 50 to 70 videos now of content on top of content on top of content. Everything a person would want to know about the stock market is in there. Tons of PowerPoint slides. Tons of information. So there's so much stuff in there that if you just signed up for the program, you got about 2 weeks worth of work that you could be doing if you want to. So definitely don't think that if you signed up and we didn't have a class yet, that there's nothing there. There's a ton of stuff there. The program for the stock market class is theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And the class that I'm working on now for entrepreneurship and starting your own business is at theblackstartupprogram.com. Theblackstartupprogram.com. The world is filled with millions of people that are building startup companies. The startup companies are everywhere. That's the wave of the future. That's what people are doing now. That's what everybody's doing. And black people have to get on board. If you are out here still looking for a job, you're gonna get screwed. You're gonna get effed, and I'm not gonna cuss today. But you are gonna get, as JN says, you're gonna get the penis, because the economy is headed in a direction where workers are not gonna be put in a position of power. They're just not. They're just not. And so I would just say, at the end of the day, you gotta adjust. If you don't adjust, you're gonna get left behind. Now somebody says, "Am I a millionaire?" On paper, absolutely. Do I have $1 million in the bank? No, because most of my money's in my business. But I wouldn't sell my businesses. If I had to sell all my assets, because I had to think about this for estate planning purposes. If I had to sell all my assets, I would say that it was well beyond $1 million. I'm not going to go into the exact number because it's not about me. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it's there's enough money where I can say that I have real life experience. Like I'm not just somebody who teaches about money. I actually know how to make money. So let me see here. I'm gonna try to remove this person who here we go. Let me see. I don't know why. Who is this Julio Viva Mexico? I don't know how to eliminate people. How do you get people off of the feed? Like, I blocked him, and it seems like he kept on coming back. So tell me if you know something I can do. I'm gonna sit here and wait for somebody to give me a solution to make sure he gets out of here, because I don't want that son of a bitch on my YouTube channel disrupting my people. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it doesn't bother me that much. But I know some of y'all don't like it, and I told myself yesterday, when I start seeing those assholes in here, I'm gonna start getting rid of them when I can. Somebody says I need a chat moderator. Tell me how to set up a chat moderator, and I would love to know how to do that, because I don't know how to have a moderator on a chat. Like, I don't know how to do that. I'm looking at you through my phone. I can moderate, but I don't. Do I need to have a person next to me who's moderating as I'm talking? Can somebody else remotely moderate? Find out how I can do that, and feel free to email my assistant, and her email address is staff@boycewatkins.com. That's staff@boycewatkins.com, and have her, tell her what to do to remotely moderate. I'll get my assistants to help with that, because I apologize, guys. I don't know where these assholes come from, but that's the funny thing. Black people have historically always kind of been picked on, picked on and screwed with more than everybody else. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not saying that you should feel sorry for yourself or that we are victims. I don't believe black people are victims. I refuse to be a victim. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you are a victim. Like, somebody pulls a gun out on you and robs you. Then technically you're a victim. But I think in terms of the way we move forward in the future, I am so disinterested in the idea of embracing black victimhood as a way of life. I just don't think you benefit from seeing yourself as a victim. I don't think you benefit from complaining and crying to these white folks about how hard it is for you. I don't think you benefit from waiting for them to create enough jobs to employ all your people. They ain't going to create enough jobs. Black people need hundreds of thousands of jobs. White people are not going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and you don't even want them to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, because when they want you to work for them, they're going to tell you what to do, and they're going to frustrate you. So, because they're going to start acting white. Doesn't mean all white people are bad and horrible people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they're different from us. They think differently. They've been trained for a very long time to not respect black people. So you got to learn how to create your own business. You have to. Every black child in America should know how to start a business by the age of 12, just as a key for their survival, because you never know when your child is going to need a plan B. You never know when your son is going to be 27, maybe with a baby and a woman or wife or whatever the case may be, and lose his job. He needs to have a plan B, because if he has a plan B and knows how to make money, then he can go and do what he's got to do as a man. If he ain't got a plan B and he's sitting around feeling sorry for himself, that woman's going to leave him. She's going to she's going to laugh at him. She's going to make fun of him. She's not going to want to even sleep with him anymore, because she's not going to see him as a real man. If you want if you want your son to grow up to be a real man, teach him how to take care of himself. Teach him how to create opportunity where there is none. When I saw that guy, I saw that brother begging that football player, that poor guy. He was about 25 years old. He was standing out in front of the Chiefs stadium, holding up a sign saying, he was a wide receiver where they run routes, wide receivers run routes. He had a sign up that said something like, we'll run routes for food or something. And I said, that's so sad, because nobody has informed him how pathetic that looks when you're out here begging the people that raped your ancestors to take care of you because you can't take care of yourself. Get out of here with that stuff. Let's see. Oracle Treehouse says, Dr. Boyce, Damon John was live on Facebook last night and mentioned an interesting fact about the elder pop. I don't even know what an elder pop is. Or elderly population. What are your thoughts about investing in the healthcare field? I think healthcare is fine. I think it's a good industry. I mean, the population is getting older. I don't really think that you have to necessarily... I don't think that you necessarily have to be... in the game trying to look for trillions of dollars. I'm really big on at least teaching people how to be in a situation where you can make that extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month so you can feed your family and be in good economic position. I'm not big on this idea of you necessarily feeling like you got to make $1 billion or go exactly where all the money is. I'm not even a big fan of Damon John. I'll tell you the truth. I haven't really seen a lot. I don't dislike him. I just haven't. I mean, when I saw him wearing that wig in that picture he took, it kind of reminded me of all the black men that you see dressing like women, in Hollywood in order to get an opportunity. And I remember just thinking, I mean, maybe he's just making fun of himself and just, laughing at himself and being funny and having fun. But I think we got to take that stuff seriously. So I really wasn't a fan of that. But I'd have to get to know him as a human being before I can make any sort of evaluation. If I meet him, I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you the truth. But I haven't really been super impressed. I mean, because white people put you on a TV show, that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, because I know how that works. For example, a lot of black men in Hollywood know that if you're gay, you're going to get certain opportunities that other people won't get. And so, or better yet, if you're into Conan, if you do what they tell you to do and say what they want you to say, then you're going to get put on somebody's TV show. So we cannot correlate being on television to mean you're accomplished. It does not mean that you are not accomplished if you are on TV. It just means that I have to see a little bit more, because unfortunately you see a whole lot of people, you see a whole lot of people that are out here saying, look at me, I'm so successful, I'm going to teach black people how to be successful. But that's dangerous thinking. You got to be really, really careful, because a lot of what they define to be success is really just assimilation, successful assimilation. That's what they did with the Native Americans. With Native Americans, when they wanted to assimilate the culture, they would take out young boys and they would educate them by white people. They would have white people educate them. And after they educated them, they would put them back in their village. And after they turned them into white males, they've gotten rid of all their ceremonial dress. They've gotten rid of their native language, all their native customs. They put them back in the community. And then they go teach other young Native Americans how to be successful. So they'll say, oh, well, you want to be successful? Look at him. He's got plenty of money. He's got plenty of food. He's got plenty of status. You want to be like him. And so that led to extensive assimilation and cultural extermination. So for black people, that plan has been in place for about 400 years. So you've really been affected by it. So a lot of times you'll have a black celebrity on TV who will write a book and say, this is how I became successful, when really all they did was go kiss a white man's ass. If that's the case, then the book could be about half a page. Kiss the white man's butt and you will be successful. And that's all you need to write in a book. I mean, it doesn't mean that these people don't work hard. It doesn't mean they're not talented, all these things. But there are a whole lot of really talented black people who refused to kiss ass, who didn't get the opportunity. I mean, you look at what happened with Dave Chappelle on The Chappelle Show. He's an extraordinary comedian, very, very funny. But he was like, I'm not putting on that damn dress. I'm not going to be your boy. I'm not going to do certain skits because I'm a conscious black man. And you saw what happened with him in Comedy Central. So, so I'm really happy to see Dave successful because I think Dave Chappelle deserves it. There's some other comedians I've seen that really have shown conscientious. And I think D.L. Hughley has been phenomenal in terms of being, just such a thoughtful black man. I know DL. I know him well, and we've had several conversations. I know him well enough to say he's a good guy. Another brother I'm actually going to talk to this afternoon is a brother you should meet. I want you to meet him. His name is Daryl Bell. Now, Daryl, you might remember Daryl from A Different World. Daryl played Dwayne Wayne's best friend, Ron. But Daryl is somebody I want you to know as a person, not as, Ron from A Different World. I don't want you thinking about that too much. I want you to see him as an intelligent black man, also as a businessman. I'm going to tell you what, this brother, Daryl, every time Daryl and I talk, we talk for hours and hours and hours. He is a good guy, smart guy, and he understands the intricacies of Hollywood and some of the good and the bad in terms of what's kind of done to control the minds of black people, and even some shows that you think are progressive and good for black people. He pointed out some flaws in those shows that I hadn't really thought about, and I'll kind of let him tell you what it is because I don't want to speak for him. But also him and his girlfriend Tempest Bledsoe, who was on the Cosby Show. Tempest was there, and we talked for hours too, and I was just really impressed with the integrity and the intelligence of these two people, as well as the respect they have for each other as a couple. And I don't care if they got married or not. I really think that, to me, they're the most impressive couple I've seen in Hollywood in terms of just people that really are connected to what black people need and what black people want to do with their lives and what we want to do as a community. So people like that are the celebrities that I enjoy meeting. I don't enjoy meeting fake people. I don't enjoy meeting people just because that white man gave you $1 billion. That doesn't make you better than anybody else. I need to find out what kind of person you are. And then at that point, even then, I'll just sort of see the shades of gray. Most people who are so-called bad people are not 100% bad. Like a lot of people, catch Steve Harvey and Stephen A. Smith for cooning, which they do. They do a whole lot of cooning, but they're not 100% coons. I've seen Steve do some things that I thought were pretty admirable. I think there are some things about Steve Harvey that you can really learn from. Same thing with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, he became successful partly because he kissed ESPN's ass, but also because he's damn good at what he does. And I think that middle ground, the ability to kind of see the middle ground, is what's really important for us as black people. I think it's kind of problematic when we, when we spend all of our time just kind of putting people in a box. That's what we're kind of taught to do. We're taught to put people in the good box or the bad box. So you either are worshiping them like they're some kind of superhero, or you hate everything they say. And I just think that that's, ridiculous. Talking Frog says, why am I watching this video? I have no idea. You should probably go. Anyway, so if you want to learn how to start a business, sign up at theblackstartupprogram.com. That's theblackstartupprogram.com. Also, if you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, you can sign up at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Let me see. So one of the things I was going to talk about real quick. I'm actually doing a short little video on it, but um, one of the things that we talk about in the Black Startup Program is also about protecting your business. I have an attorney by the name of Tanya Nebo. She teaches our franchising program at theblackfranchiseprogram.com. And, one of the things that happened when I had a conversation with her was she really helped me to really sort of look at my business with a microscope and a fine-tooth comb to see where all the potential legal loopholes were, all the different ways to protect the business. You would be absolutely floored. You would be floored by how many businesses in our community get destroyed after they've been built because of very basic things. It might be something like you filled out the trademark form and you had a typo in the trademark form. So instead of securing the rights to Sally and Jane hairstyle, you got Sally and Jane hairstyles. And somebody else took the other name and took it from you, and next thing you know, you put $1 million into building a brand and you lost your whole company. Most of the time, you don't see the legal vulnerabilities of your company until you start making money. And that's the hard part. When you've got nothing to really protect, then nobody's really going to come and try to take it. But what happens is once you start making money, people start looking at you with binoculars. They start counting your money because there are attorneys out here where all they do is they live off of the opportunity to go and almost like vultures go in and scoop up and take somebody's business or get a payoff because of some modest copyright violation or whatever. And so protection is really important for a business. A lot of businesses die because of problems with the IRS. That's another issue. My accountant, her name is Jessica Smith out of Chicago. She and I talk all the time, and I'll always say, okay, how are we with taxes? How are we with, keeping everything orderly? How are we with, with making sure the finances are structured? Because a lot of people, and you've probably seen some of the celebrities go to jail for tax evasion. And the IRS is kind of a horrible beast to get into trouble with, because the IRS, it's like financial quicksand, because the more you make, the deeper the hole. And as you're making more money to get out of the hole, you're going deeper in the hole, because they're saying, oh, you made another $1 million to pay off your tax bill. Well, that's a bigger tax bill that you're going to have now. So when you used to hear Diddy say more money, more problems, that's really true. The more money you make, the more problems you have, the more you have to be a problem solver. At the same time, the more money you have, if you are constantly growing your intelligence and constantly developing yourself as a business person, the more money you have, the more capable you'll become at solving problems in an intelligent fashion. So making more money shouldn't scare you. I would say that it's easier to have money than it is to be broke. But never assume that because you've got money that all your problems will just go away. They will become more complex. But what you do is you outsource other people who can help you handle the complexities of the problems that you have. So, as part of the Black Startup Program, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in people that will help you protect your business, because building the greatest business in the world means nothing if you don't protect it. It means nothing if you don't have lawyers in place that can help you fight a frivolous lawsuit. America is a really litigious society. People sue each other for almost nothing. You become liable for things that don't make any sense. And so protecting the business is really important. In fact, when I teach in the Black Stock Market Program, we kind of have this modest wealth building life cycle where the first goal is to make a plan. And then the next step is to execute the plan, start accumulating assets. Once you accumulate assets through the execution of your plan consistently over a long period of time, you then have to protect what you've accumulated. In fact, most wealthy families, 70% of all wealthy families, lose everything within one generation. Most wealthy families in America lose all their assets within one generation. Why? Well, because they didn't protect the wealth. That's where things like estate planning are very important, especially if you become a business owner. You have to plan your estate carefully. It's more than just having a will and having life insurance. Those are two important steps. But then you really want to have, especially if you have a decent amount of assets or you have a business that you want to protect, you want to have somebody that's really going to go through and look into your trust and your estate planning. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is the IRS is going to take so much of your money. You're going to have relatives fighting over your money. The lawyers are going to take your money. There's nothing worse than to have a whole bunch of money that's caught up in probate, meaning that, you know, that it goes to court where people are fighting over the money because the lawyers love it. The lawyers don't care who wins all the time. The lawyers just love it when people fight. The lawyers make money off of warfare. They make money off of conflict. So you want to try to, you know, have good contracts in place to minimize the conflict. You protect your business, you know, in a lot of ways, mostly accounting and legal, but there are also other ways you have to protect your business just in terms of who you allow into the business, who you choose to do business with. You bring in bad partners, that can ruin your business. You bring in bad employees, that can ruin your business. I've had to get rid of people because they became a virus to the environment. They were interacting with other people on the team and, you know, getting nasty and gossipy and mean and rude and territorial and bitchy or whatever it is. And I had to say, I'm sorry, you got to go because we have an economic family here. And a lot of people are depending on this economic family to provide security for themselves and their families. So we can't have one bad apple ruining the bunch. I don't care how good you are, you got to go. So, you know, protecting a business is a little bit, it reminds me a little bit of protecting a child. I mean, if you think about it, when a mother's raising a child or a father's raising a child, they don't let just anybody babysit their child. They won't let their child play with kids in the neighborhood who are into bad stuff. You know, if the little girl down the street is too fast, you might say, I don't want my daughter hanging out with her. Or if the little boy is getting into drugs, you might say, I don't want my son around him. He's thugging out. He's going to get my son killed. You know, or you know, so the same way you protect a child is really the same way you protect a business. So as you build your business, don't ever assume that that it's not always under attack, that there aren't always threats. There's always threats in terms of profitability, protecting revenue streams. There are legal threats. There are accounting and financial threats from the IRS. There are all these other threats out there that if you're not aware of them, then you can get taken out. So success is one thing, but protecting the success is another. And if you don't believe me, go look at how many athletes and celebrities and previous multimillionaires are walking around here broke. Well, why are they broke? Well, because they made a lot of money, but they didn't know how to protect it. Need I say more? I don't think I need to say any more. All right. So anyway, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Startup Program. I hope this was helpful information for you guys. If you want to learn how to start $1 million business, you feel free to go sign up at theblackstartupprogram.com. That's theblackstartupprogram.com. Also, if you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, you can go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Also, somebody's asking, are you going to have the 48-hour business school anywhere in the East Coast tri-state area? We're going to do the next one in Chicago. It's going to be in July. We're only taking 50 students. So, you know, selection is going to be really tight. We've already had hundreds of people apply because I guess people saw it on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's a great program. You'll love it because basically, literally, this was the first program we ever had that had 100% approval. We've had programs get 90%, 93%. I mean, that's pretty good. 80% is good. But this was the only one where we had 100% of the students that said, I would definitely recommend my friend join this. So if you want to apply, you can apply at 48hourbusinessschool.com. That's the number 48, 48hourbusinessschool.com. If we like what we see in Chicago, we'll try it again. I'm thinking I want to do the next one after that in Louisville, Kentucky, though, because that's where the Dr. Boyce Watkins Economic Empowerment Institute is housed at Simmons College. And I want to actually bring you into my house, bring you into my space, so we can just be there for 3 days or so and just interact. And at the end, you get a certificate of completion. And we also spend a year with follow-up to make sure you're successful. We help you market. We do all those things. So if you're interested, please feel free to check it out. Go to the number 48, 48hourbusinessschool.com. That has a higher price point, but it's well worth it. It's far cheaper than a college degree, but it's far better than a college degree, if you know what I mean. But also, if you want to join the digital program, you can go to theblackstartupprogram.com. That's theblackstartupprogram.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have an awesome day. I love you. Talk to you soon. Peace.